So it's almost winter, the summer season is coming to an end, sort of. The road bikes are being hung up for a couple of months, and so you must be wondering, how the hell can I get myself a fix of some bike racing? Well, do I have something for you. What if we took a road bike, put some different tyres on it, took them off the road, threw them on a circuit and travelled them around Belgium, and then added hordes of crazy passionate fans to the mix as well? Well, we might just get the best sport on two wheels. So today, I'll run you through the basics of the amazing sport of cyclocross. And we'll start off very simply with the question of how a race actually works. Bike racing often has two distinctive types of racing: point-to-point races and circuit racing. Most road and gravel races, the Tour de France, Paris-Roubaix, Unbound Gravel for example, all race from point A to point B over a course that is usually hundreds of kilometres long. Cyclocross is slightly different and is more in line with mountain biking in that the course is on an enclosed circuit. Cyclocross courses are mandated to be roughly 2 to 3 kilometres in length. This makes the sport far easier to spectate than a 200 km point-to-point race. Riders race laps around the course. The amount of laps changes per course, but the aim is for a race to last roughly 1 hour. The winner is, of course, the rider to cross the finish line first at the end of the final lap. I doubt that bit really needed explaining. So now that we understand how the race is held in its most basic aspects, what can we expect from an average circuit? Well, to be honest, this depends largely on the circuit. Most places are pretty unique, but there are a few things that are a given. All cyclocross races start with a mass standing start, similar to a marathon or a slightly less controlled motor race. Think Formula 1 for example. Usually the grid order is decided by some arbitrary listing somewhere, for example the UCI rankings or possibly the point standing of the competition that the race is part of. Usually the better riders will start near the front. Another absolute given is the existence of two separate pit lanes on the circuit. These are required in cyclocross as it is allowed to change your bike midway through the race. Pit lanes are often built to be conjoined in some way in order to make it easier for the mechanics and behind the scenes people to access both lanes. Bike changes can be used for various reasons. Of course, if your bike breaks somehow, you can change in the pits. It's also commonplace on muddier circuits to swap bikes every lap or so in order to get a clean bike, as mud tends to mess with the gears on a bike a little bit. Now, those two things are the absolutes of a cyclocross course. Those are the things you will always see. But there are of course some things that are regularly returning but not guaranteed to feature in every course. One of those things is sand. Sand is rather difficult to bike through, and a small sandpit section is a common obstacle. You can find them on courses such as Ruddervoorde and Essen. There are also courses that can be described as sand courses, held almost entirely on the surface. Courses like Zonhoven, Kokzijde and Lille make great use of the sandy beaches that they are built on. Of course, this means you also get sand specialists, and those specialisations might well be the subject of another video soon, so keep an eye out for that. Another well-known obstacle are the barriers. These will be on almost any course somewhere. A set of two barriers roughly 30 to 40 centimeters high. Historically, these would cause riders to dismount and carry the bike over them, but in recent years all the men have pretty much learned to jump them, and now some of the leading female talents have started doing so as well. And oh yeah, dismounts are pretty normal. There's stairs as well, like actual staircases, like full-on legitimate staircases. These are pretty normal things to find on most courses. You'll find a proper staircase like the one you're seeing here in Fayetteville. It's also pretty normal to find just banks that are too steep to ride. Both Kokzijde and Zonhoven, for example, have one of these steep walls. Of course, every course has its own unique features too. For example, you have Nemours' famous off-camber section and the carousel in Rukven. And that's the beauty of cross. There's so many different courses with so many different elements to them that you have to be incredibly versatile to master them all. Now, there's a bunch of races and a bunch of different types of courses, but which ones are actually worth watching? That's the question I'll answer now. In cross, there are three major competitions: the Trophy, sponsored by some random company, the Super Prestige, and the World Cup. All three competitions are held concurrently from October to January, and all three attract the very best riders in the world. Of course, there are numerous national competitions in other countries as well, but it's these three competitions that really are the most prestigious ones. These are the ones you really want to win if you're at the top level. Of course, there are numerous national series, such as the French Coupe de France, the US CX Series in the United States, and the British National Series, that are all held as well. But undoubtedly the biggest of all the competitions is the newest as well of the big three. It's the Cyclocross World Cup. Founded in 1994, the World Cup is hosted by the UCI, the official cycling governing body, and is nowadays the most international of the competitions. This year will see races held in the USA, the UK, Belgium, the Netherlands, Czechia, France, Spain and Italy. Included in here are cyclocross staples such as Tabor and Zonhoven, as well as new and interesting courses like Val di Sol and Benidorm. World Cups are often held on Sundays. For specific dates, I'd highly recommend checking out the calendar. The easiest way to do this is probably cyclocross24.com. Their calendar has all UCI registered cross races listed, including all World Cups. Very useful resource. The other two of the three main competitions are nowadays entirely Belgian affairs. Belgium, specifically Flanders, is the heart and home of the sport. The Super Prestige, much like the World Cup, works by giving out points to the best finishers, and then an overall champion is crowned. The Trophy, currently sponsored by X2O, a bathroom manufacturer, works slightly differently. The lowest cumulative time across all X2O rounds will determine the overall winner, similar to how the Tour de France is won, for example. All three competitions are of course televised and fairly easy to follow online. Outside of the major competitions, there is just one more thing to mention: the special one-day races. These include the National, Continental and World Championships. One of the most unique and, in my opinion, best things about cycling as a whole is the special jerseys you can win and wear. For example, the winner of a country's national championships gets to wear the flag of his country for the entire next year. Here are some examples. There are of course also continental championships, and the single most important race of the year, held at the end of January as a finale to the season, is the Cyclocross World Championships. For the 2022-23 season, they will be at the legendary Hoge Heide circuit in the Netherlands. The winner of the World Championships gets to wear this, the rainbow jersey, and in every form of cycling, this is the biggest and most important prize you can win, barring maybe the yellow jersey of the Tour de France. For this year, the first televised cross should be round mid-September. The standalone event of the Polderscross in Kruijbeke is probably the first proper event that will be getting televised access. It will be held on the 18th of September. The 17th sees America's first cross of the year, Go Cross in Virginia. This one might be live too, but I don't really know for sure. Maybe. The first real big meeting of the year is the opening World Cup of the season, held on the 9th of October at the headquarters of Trek Cycling at Waterloo, Wisconsin in the USA. And I hope to see you watching it as well, as I sure will be. Join me back here soon, where I'll do a proper rundown for the upcoming season, discussing the who's who of who you need to know and who you need to keep an eye on. If you have any more questions based around what we talked about today, feel free to ask away in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer any and all. If you want to keep up with more cyclocross news and events and other information such as this video, feel free to subscribe, and I'm sure something will pop up at some point. I hope this has helped shine a light into the baffling, confusing world of cyclocross. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.